"You see," said Dr. Eisenmark, "I have been forced to seek consultation. I know nothing of snakes, but my good friend here, who has spent the morning with me, he knows them like his 10 fingers. We have been violent with our friend of yesterday," and he produced a huge corkboard on which, pegged down, flayed and opened up like a half-made necktie, Sims beheld the snake, which had been confined in the hamper. Sims felt ill. Only yesterday it had been uncompromisingly alive. "I do not think my friend will regret the hours he has spent with me," the psychiatrist went on. "It has been interesting, so interesting, even to me who knows nothing of snakes. But you must tell him, I do not know the language." The curator of reptiles spoke at some length while Sims stared at the dissected wreck on the board. This snake, it appeared, belonged to no known species or variety, but that was its mildest eccentricity. Its anatomical features were scientifically fantastic. "Its fangs," said the curator, "are built like dog teeth, and its scales are attached like fish scales. Then I dissected. I found, Mr. Sims, that beyond a rudimentary alimentary canal and a vaguely differentiated brain and spinal cord, it has no internal organs at all, no subsidiary nerves, no reproductive system, no muscles. How it managed to move and live I could not imagine, and yet Eisenmark told me it was uncommonly vigorous." There was a melancholy fear in his eyes as he gazed at the dissected specimen. "I don't like it. I don't like it at all," he said, and reached for his hat. Dr. Eisenmark laughed. "Ha, ha, ha, ha! He does not understand," he told Sims. "He does not understand any better than you did, even less if possible." He turned to the curator ferociously. "Do you not see? Is it not the kind of snake a man who knew nothing of snakes would imagine?" "Don't go over that again," said the curator. "I want to forget about it," and he left without another word, forestalling thanks by his haste, the picture of a man bewildered beyond endurance. When the door banged, the psychiatrist burst into roars of laughter. "Ha, ha, ha, ha! The real man of science," he said, "shut up in his own specialty and afraid to look out of it. He knows the little snakes, but you must not tell him there is a whole world outside." Then he reverted to the suppressed excitement of the preceding evening. "Ah," he went on, "do you know what we have found? I guess that this stupid expert tells me I am right, and the stupid expert tells me I am right. There," he indicated the corkboard in its horrid display, "there is the death of the old science. Not for nothing have I kept my mind open. Einstein, a trifler with paper and pencil. Newton, Mendel, Darwin, all fools running in a circle. We break through. I don't understand anything," said Sims drearily. "What have you proved?" The psychiatrist panted in disgust and shook a hairy finger in his face. "We prove," he said, "that you, an insignificant young man," Sims winced, "can think matter into existence, and that is not all. You can organize it into moving, living flesh. Then you can make life. Himmel, do not stare at me so. Here is the flesh you have made. It is alive. Do I not know?" "But I don't want to make more snakes," said Sims. "I had nothing to do with it. They just came." "My friend," said the psychiatrist, "if you do not stop being foolish, I shall send you to my colleagues who try to tell you that your snakes are libidinous symbols of insult and insult your grandmother. They will call your troubles the Laocoön Complex and ask you questions for 3 years until you become self-conscious about the way you get your hair cut. Why do I take time to tell you what you mean to the world? You did not think snakes as you think eggs for breakfast, but yesterday I see you are a man who cannot fall in love, who does his work like a blind horse in a mine, who is alive only because he cannot help breathing, who likes warm air because it is flexible and alive as he is not. Ah! I tell you, it was fear and horror you wanted. Fear and horror that was alive, more alive than the cinema and little books about murder. And you tell me you did not make these snakes when you have made them without knowing it, because it is fear and horror you need. Dummkopf! He looked at Simon's pale face. A glint of humor crept into his voice. But I shall take care of you, he went on, obviously striving to collect himself. You come to me not like a guinea pig for experiment, but as a patient to be cured. You will make me a snake in the presence of eminent witness, and then I shall cure you. Then, if you are wise, you will go murder a nice girl and run away and enlist in the French Foreign Legion and try to live a little. Simon gaped at him and hung his head. So, said the psychiatrist, in a kinder voice, I am not polite, but it is my business to speak strongly. You will come back tomorrow, and we will talk about the witness and the demonstration. Incapable of saying a word, Sims gulped and went out. Out of his new scientific significance, he had got nothing but an uncomfortably bloated feeling. Now that he was out of Dr. Eisenmark's hearing, he repeated to himself again and again that he had not wanted snakes. They just came. And nuisance that they had been. It was all nothing compared to the scale of the trouble they had brought upon him. He shrank pitifully from the prospect of taking such a momentous bath in the presence of a bearded, pretentious witness. He should have said nothing to anyone and disposed of his snakes unaided, or even let them stay. It might have been hasty to decide that they were hostile. It seemed inconceivable that they should be that. He had seen yesterday's specimen in such pathetic dishabille. When he got home, he went straight to the bathroom and stared at the scar in the bottom of the bathtub. He recalled the agonized care with which he had aimed the revolver and the cataclysmic reverberations of the explosion when he fired. Trying to kill the snake would be the last thing he would consider doing in his new frame of mind. Perhaps it was because the psychiatrist had put the notion in his head, but there was now something attractive and satisfying about the convulsive wriggling which made every fiber tingle throughout the brute's whole length. With as casual an air as he could manage, he turned on the hot water and began to undress. The bath was quite cold when the cleaning woman found him in the bathroom the next morning. He had got as far as the medicine cabinet before he lost consciousness, and a tiny bottle of a popular disinfectant proved that he had not lost his man-in-the-street faith in first aid. The curator had been right. The fangs of Sim's snakes were poisonous. The green snake which the woman found in the tub was still swimming gallantly with its head raised above the water. Its remarkable powers of endurance can be attributed only to the fact the Sims had inclined to believe that snakes could not be drowned. And that's the end.